In this video, we're continuing to look at input devices, and we'll be focusing on barcode readers, and then at the very end we'll have a little look at QR code readers just to see how they differ from barcode readers. Okay then, so by the end of this video, hopefully you'll be able to explain how barcode readers are used to input data, and also discuss the difference between barcodes and QR codes in everyday life. Alright then, first of all, what is a barcode reader? Well, it's basically a way of holding data inside of a code. Okay, so your barcodes, you're probably familiar with them. They kind of look like that. Some of them are thicker, some of them are shorter, and these are represented as a code that's normally written at the bottom of the number. Okay, so this barcode here stores this code, and this code is linked to a product that stores information. Now, when you buy most things, not everything, but most things have a barcode reader on the label or actually printed on the box of the product. Okay, now each product, although you might not be able to tell by looking at the barcode, the code that the bar represents, or the barcode represents, is different. All right. Now, when you buy a product, and the person in the shop scans it using either a handheld barcode reader or one built into a terminal, the laser scans the code, and the bars are translated into the actual code that is written just underneath the barcode here, right? The number code. All right. Now, this code is already input into the computer onto a database. So once it's been translated from this barcode into the numbers, into binary, the computer then looks up the code in its database and finds the product. And once it's found the product, it has all sorts of information stored about the product, like its name, its price, if there's any left in stock, what color it is, who made it, things like that. Okay, so it's all stored in the database on the store's computer. Now, a really good example of where you're going to find one in everyday use is these APOS terminals, right, which stands for Electronic Point of Sale Terminals. Now, these terminals are really common or popular for Cambridge to ask about in exams, because they've got lots of input devices on them, they've got lots of output devices on them. Just looking at this picture here, I can see an input device on this keyboard, I can see an output device on the screen, I can see an input device here, I can see an output device here, I can see the bar scanner, the barcode reader input device there, I can see there's probably scales on here. There'll be a point on one of these that prints out a receipt that is an output printer. So you can see there's all sorts of input and output devices for Cambridge to choose from. So they really like using these APOS terminals on their questions. Okay, but for this one, we're just going to be focusing on the barcode. So, you will see them in many shops, even if you don't actually see the terminal itself, because you just see the gun that the shop assistant's using. Like when you go to IKEA, for example, there'll still be a terminal behind the till that you might not be able to see. Now, most of them, not every single one, but most of them will have barcode scanners on them, which is their input device. Now, the terminal will either use these type of barcode scanners, or the gun that we've seen on the other picture, to scan the barcode of your item. Once it does that, the barcode reads it, quickly looks it up into the database, gives the price, adds it to your shopping list, and then at the end it all adds up to your final bill. So how does it read? Well, a barcode reader, what it does first is it flashes a light onto the barcode. Alright, once the light hits the barcode, it bounces back into the reader. The reader has sensors in them that can detect the pattern of dark and white lines, and then it translates this pattern into the binary that goes into the computer. Advantages: the main one, it's really quick. I'm old enough to remember when shops used to have to put little stickers on there on every single item in a grocery store with the price on, and there used to be somebody just with a pricing gun up in the warehouse just sticking stickers on things all day long, and that was his job. It was really arduous and tiresome. So this actually saves hundreds of hours of man time. They are more accurate because the barcodes always stay the same and nobody's going to stick the wrong sticker on something. So every time it's scanned, it should have the right price in. Barcode are cheaper than other methods of data delivery systems. Okay, now I know it probably is more, it's probably not as cheap as a sticker, but when you think you have to pay for a person to stick all of the stickers onto something, when you think of their hourly rate, a barcode reader is going to be cheaper in the long run, pretty quickly actually. Disadvantages: they can only do one job. It reads a barcode, it doesn't do anything else. And they are not part of an ordinary computer system, so you do have to buy a barcode reader to fit into your computer. Right, so plug it in. QR codes. Now, the way that they pick up the way they read the QR code, or the way the scanners read the QR codes, is the same principle as a barcode. All right, it shines the light onto the QR code. That light is reflected back, and then it picks up the difference between the dark and the light pattern and translates that into binary. Okay, the difference is, instead of just going along like that, a QR code can go both ways, so it means it can fit a lot more data in there. All right, a lot more data, which means that businesses can use it for things like adverts. They can place videos into it, they can place posters into it, they can have it linked to websites. It doesn't just have to represent a single code. All right, it can link to different places to give a lot more functionality to the code itself. So you often see them in airports to advertise places to go, or you might see a company might use it to link to a video to advertise an advert that they've made for TV or that people can watch on their phones. Okay, so that is barcodes and QR codes. And as always, if you want to read over this PowerPoint more slowly, you can find it in the folder of Unit 2.3, I think it is, on the class website. And I will see you in the next video.